Hello and welcome to Town Talk. I'm your host, Rose Highland-Sharpe. This very inspirational program is brought to you by Highland Communications for storytelling, entertainment, music, and much more. Call at 910-528-0718. Stay tuned for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. program. It is re-edited. It's in its entirety. Of course, sponsored by the Moore County NAACP, January 2019, held at the H.A. Wilson Auditorium on the campus of Southern Pines Primary School. Now, the keynote speaker, Judge Regina Joe, District Court Judge 19D, here in the Sand Hills of North Carolina. And special guest speakers, including the MCs, who are the Young Adults Committee members and other Young Adults Committee members giving their speeches as well. And the youth from the local public schools, from the debate teams and theatrical groups, including West End Elementary School, Southern Middle School, and Pinecrest High School. And you'll see the STEP team from Southern Middle School as well. Moore County Schools, school board members and laypersons, ministers, and of course we're going to begin with the MLK Junior 2019 March in downtown Southern Pines, North Carolina, sponsored by the West Southern Pines Civic Club Incorporated. Listen, watch, enjoy.
How do? God bless you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to see you. Well, thank you for your service. God bless. Another year, another year. Another year. How you doing? Oh my God, here comes the train. Hi, sweeties. Here comes the train again. How do? Here comes the train. Y'all walking really fast this year. It's cold here. Thank you. Excellent. I know it's first time for the train. There's Dorothy Brower. She's filming me. I'm filming her. Good morning. God bless. Woo, Cole. How you doing, sweetie? Oh, my sweetie. How you doing? The train is coming. Get on board. Get on board. Hey, hey, hey. Get on board. Hey, baby. Get on board. Thank you. Y'all moving fast today. Moving fast. I know why. 28 degrees. Hey, hey. Catch that train. Get on board. I get, Lord, I got the babies out here. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Woo. Yeah, yeah. Boys and girls. There's that beautiful, hey! Y'all know it's too cold out here. Oh my God. I'm freezing, man. Hello, I hear my name. Hello. Co-workers, colleagues. Oh my God. Hello, my dears. I'm telling you, man, it's beautiful. I can't hardly take it. A little circle. Oh. All right, how you doing? All right. How you doing this morning? Good, good. Y'all catch that train. How you doing? How you doing? Oh my God. Somebody give me some mittens. Keep hope alive. I know I can't hardly take it. I don't believe that train came by. There he goes, the guy with the pilot. Kevin Smith is going behind me with NAACP Moore County. Okay. Hello, my dears. Oh, I gotta put these gloves back on. I can't take it anymore. Oh yeah, I can't take it. I can't take it. Oh my gosh, Rose Highland-Sharpe, Town Talk TV. I don't know what's going on there. I do. How you doing, Pastor Bishop Smith?
Yeah,
thank you for your service.
People on the bus.
Yes. No, it's cold out here, man. God. Jesus. Okay, I'm done. I am done. My fingers are frozen. 21st of January 2019, MLK Day, Southern Pines, North Carolina. First Missionary Baptist Church, longtime sister church of my old home church. Fire and Rescue, Southern Pines, everybody's just driving. Anyway, it's all good. Dorothy Brower, she's doing a good thing there. Hope she's recording live, I hope. I don't know. We get everybody, hey sweeties! Hey, y'all in the march? Keep hope alive. Keep those fingers warm. I love y'all. God bless. Oh, yes. Look, that's right. Yes, yes.
Did you get my back?
Oh, okay. I'm going to get Dorothy's back.
Official from the King Center.
Okay. I'm trying to straighten it out. There you go. There you go. That's beautiful. Humanity. Oh, my God. Beautiful. Thank you, Dorothy Brower. And what all those clubs you with? West Southern Pines Citizens for Change and what else?
Civic Club, American Legion Auxiliary.
That's right.
And this is for you, directly from the King Center.
Okay. Put it in my pocket.
This year's theme.
Thank you.
It's called Humanity Tied in a Single Garment of Destiny.
Yes, ma'am.
2019.
Okay.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you for all you do, sweetie. We're going to continue to work together. Okay, let's go on down the road. Oh my gosh, here in Southern Pines.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you all enjoyed the march. If you were able to participate, give yourselves a hand. In the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, whenever he was assassinated, he was campaigning for the Poor People's Campaign, where he brought people together of all races and all backgrounds to come together for equality. And in the spirit of that, we would like to open up and lift every voice and sing. And we would like to welcome whoever is brave enough to come up and join us in singing this song. Thank you. We're going to be led by Mr. Quavi Gibson.
Yeah.
Amen. Everyone please stand and bow your head.
Let us pray. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege it is to carry all our sins to God in prayer. Our Father, our God, Creator and Maker of all mankind, here we are again, God. We have gathered here. God, we realize, oh God, that we're in a time when walls are wanting to be built. But God, you have ordained us to tear down walls, to pull down walls, and build bridges. And we thank you, God, for the opportunity to fellowship one with another. We thank you for the unity in which we're here. God, we thank you, God, because we're here to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King, but yet we're here to celebrate all the good that he has done. And now, Father, we say thank you as we move from this point and move forward together, that you will be with us and stand with us in a time like this. For realizing, oh God, if we ever needed you before, we need you now. God, we pray that you will come and strengthen us on every hand. God, we pray that you will prop us up on every leaning side. God, we pray that you will be a God that will hold us in the hollow of your hands in a time like this. We thank you again, God, for life. We thank you for health, and we thank you for strength. Even for those, God, that participated in the march, God, we just want to give you the praise, oh God, for allowing them the opportunity and the strength, God, because so many, God, could not do it. But we thank you because you gave us life, health, and strength, even a sound mind. We give your name the praise. Now, God, we pray that you will go with us and stand by us, uphold us in all good. We thank you and give your name the praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right, well, that was a tough act to follow. Thank you to Bishop Ricky Smith for that lovely prayer. Next speaker is a young man by the name Marcus Burris. He will be speaking from West Pine Elementary School. Oh, West End, my bad. West End.
Amen. Beautiful. Okay.
Hello, I am Marcus. I sung because I want to be a king. I am 7 and I have helped feed thousands of families. I have helped give hundreds of families book bags, supplies, and Christmas trees. I serve because I want to be a king. Today we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His fighting for equal service was basically fighting for equal rights for all people who stood up to powerful people so that I could have a better education and be safe. We brought all colors together by leading boycotts, marches, and speaking out because the bad things people do to us. My favorite speech is his I Have a Dream speech. In 1963, he said, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We are close, but in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We keep fighting together. All people have to serve and be like him together so that we can be like him. I serve because I want to be like King. Welcome and happy Martin Luther King Day.
Well. Thank you, sir. Amen. Amen.
Wasn't that amazing? So throughout the program, I just want to throw out little tidbits of information while we have everyone together. I'm not quite sure what our 2018-2019 school curriculum teaches about Dr. Martin Luther King, but I want to throw out some little tidbits while we have you all here. So Dr. Martin Luther King's birth name was Michael, not Martin, just so you know. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm sorry. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born Michael, not Martin. Little food for thought.
Facts.
Our next speaker will be a member of our Young Adults NAACP, Mr. Rodney Walker.
Well, good afternoon, family. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. This microphone's got a little bass in my voice. I like that. Well, it's so good to see the Moore County community today, bringing over the same level of MLK pride and MLK passion for the march we just saw on display. We're right here, right now, for this program this afternoon. And I know for certain that if you all just stay motivated with us here, we'll be able to pay a really meaningful tribute to the significance and context of this pretty historic federal holiday going on across the country. So thank you so much again for your attendance with us here at the NAACP program, and we really do appreciate it. I just have a few quick things just to bring to your attention, and I'll be able to pass this thing along and get these events started. First off, my name is Rodney Lovebryce Walker, originally from Kannapolis, North Carolina. I'm currently serving as a volunteer for the Young Adults Committee of NAACP, and I'm also an eventual member, I say again eventual member once I pay my dues, of the local branch of the NAACP here in Moore County. And on behalf of this organization, I have the opportunity to outline the great work and activism of this coalition today, as we segue into our program. And this is just to give you all a sense and introduction for those of you who need it to our NAACP mission statement, what we're about, and ways that you can personally get involved in our efforts here in the Moore County region. So, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People holds a very special significance in American history, as we all know. And right alongside the efforts and leadership of Dr. King in the 1960s movement, the NAACP is central to the civil rights journey of African Americans in this country. So we have 39 years after the passage of the 15th Amendment that, at least on paper, safeguarded the right to vote against acts of racial discrimination. The NAACP is founded in 1909 in New York City. And it's organized around the reality that the promise of America, when it comes to the idea of equality, was not being extended to the black community across the country. A black community, mind you, that was the bedrock of the Southern economy leading up to the Civil War, as we painfully know. A black community, mind you, again, that sacrificed their own blood and their own treasure alongside the same forces that kept the United States intact against secession. So the NAACP recognized that deliberate roadblocks continue to sever African Americans from their justice. And from 1909 forward, the NAACP begins to trailblaze a path to civil rights for black Americans. They start springboarding the movement into the U.S. court systems to challenge laws of segregation. They start mobilizing African American youth. Keep that in mind. And they begin to generate more and more protests to highlight the disparities that they suffered. And by the time the 1950s roll around, there is some major momentum behind the civil rights movement in the United States. And every step of the way, the NAACP is keeping the pulse alive. The March from Selma to Montgomery aimed to agitate pro-segregation and Jim Crow activists to demand federal voting right protections in Congress. NAACP was at the center of this. The NAACP icon herself, Rosa Parks, we all know her well, leads a public demonstration boycott against the transportation system in Montgomery. And the one and only Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. himself animates the path for justice with a soaring rhetoric and grassroots leadership. So the mission statement for the NAACP, in large part, maintains that historical context. And the NAACP will always be anchored in that civil rights movement legacy. But, what's the significance of the NAACP today, one might ask? Why do we even need an NAACP in 2019, for God's sake? 102 years after the organization began. Everything seems to be going, pretty peachy across the country for minority groups. Am I right, Southern Pines? One would say, hypothetically, hey, one might even say, we elected an African-American president on 2 occasions. Barack Obama was elected 2008, 2012. So we're obviously in a post-racial America, right? Everybody's on the same playing field now. Voter suppression is totally a thing of the past. I personally can't think of any recent stories that would give you the idea that voting rights are under attack. Nothing in North Carolina. Or that you're being gerrymandered on the basis of race into districts in such a way that your turnout doesn't even matter. I haven't personally, heard anything of that regard. But hey, we know that regrettably, this is not the case for certain Americans that are part of the American family in this country. We have disparities in economic conditions, political access, our justice system, and more. They're still shaped through the lens of race in this country. And in the decades following the civil rights movement, the NAACP has broadened their focus of activism to champion the political and educational and social and economic opportunity of minority groups and citizens. And incredible progress has been made to this end, no doubt. But the ultimate agenda of this historical organization is not just to commemorate our civil rights history, but it is to secure a more equal American future. And this will never be fully realized without participation from our local communities across the country. And this is where the Moore County NAACP comes into play. And more specifically, this is where you and your immediate family and your immediate friends come into play. Because every single person standing in this room has a personal stake in the direction of the NAACP, in the direction of the country. We actually share a responsibility of the character of this country and what this organization, takes on and what we pursue. And that's the reality whether we believe it or not. So in conclusion, if it matters to you that your children and the children of American minorities are receiving quality education and equal resources to build their futures, you need to truly be making an investment of your time to help shape the direction of the NAACP. If it matters to you that our African-American youth are falling victim to the largest rate of gun violence in this country, if it matters to you that we're currently living in a political culture where certain Americans feel vindicated and they feel safe in their oppositions to communities of color and communities of different religions or communities or different orientations, and if it matters to anyone attending this NAACP program, that barely over 5 decades following the greatest civil rights movement in American history, that self-identified white supremacists can open fire upon worshiping Americans in their place of religious refuge in Charleston, or drive a vehicle into a crowd of equal rights protesters. So needless to say, it is pretty self-evident that the work towards equality endures. And this is why we march, this is why the NAACP is still relevant today. So, if you're interested in making our communities better, helping this organization with your time and energy is the way to do it. We have some big plans for 2019 in terms of our outreach to the community. So please get involved with us in that regard. Like us on Facebook. I can give you some points of contact with some pretty good leaders here in the young adults. We have Lakeisha Womack right here that leads the young adults committee for the NAACP. So this is one of the best ways to help us get started, bridging the gap in our community. And I'm very inspired by the level of interest and passion on these issues that we're seeing. And we want to make sure that this organization is as formidable as we can make it. And with their help, we can make sure this movement of Dr. King and NAACP will live on. So thank you so much, family. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. Please consider joining us as a young adult committee of the NAACP. We are looking for amazing people to help us with the ideas, the missions, the activities, and things that we want to do in the community. So please spread the word. We'll have points of contact. Of course, you can look for Lakeisha Womack. You can look for any of us on Facebook to contact us in reference to information. We meet second Tuesday of every month at 7:30 at Trinity AME Zion Church downstairs. So join us.
All right, so our next speaker is someone I'm very happy to announce because I helped campaign for her very much. You may not have known that, but I did. She goes by the name of Miss Judge Regina Joe, District Court 19D.
She is going to do the installation of the Moore County NAACP 2019 through 2021 elected and chaired officers. Before she comes up, I do want to share another tidbit of information with you about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commercial break. He entered college at the age of 15 years old.
Sure did.
He skipped the 9th grade and the 12th grade and went to Morehouse College in 1944. Food for thought.
I think they're doing a wonderful job. Y'all just give them a clap. They're doing a wonderful job. Right now, as they stated, that we will have the installation of the 2019-2021 executive officers and the committee chairs. And as I call your name, I would love for you all to come up, if you can, and so your oath of office would be rendered. As president, yours truly, Olinda Watkins. First vice president, Linda White, and she's not able to be here, but I would like for someone to come and stand in her place. Secretary, Lakeisha Womack. Secretary, Treasurer, Joyce Chalmers. Executive Committee, Al McShirley, Kevin A. Smith, and Fenton Wilkinson. If you all please come up. Committee chairs for Criminal Justice, Arthur Mason. Is Arthur here? If not, will someone please come and stand in her place, in his place? If someone can stand in his place. Economic and Environmental Justice, Fenton Wilkinson. If he's not here, can someone come and stand in his place? Health and Justice, Nancy Kingfisher, she's right here. Immigration Justice, Anna Blackburn. Legal Redress, our Attorney Al McShirley, he's up there. Political Action Justice, Laura Simon. Communication, Press, and Publicity, Karen Smith. Veterans Affairs Justice, Master Donaro. Thank you. Women in the NAACP, Margaret A. Smith, I know she's not here. Someone could please come and stand in her place. Margaret Smith, please. You have, thank you. Young adult, we have Lakeisha Womack, she's also our secretary. Our youth advisor, Ms. Ariana, I think. Thank you so much. We will proceed.
Good afternoon. My name is Regina Joe, and I'm one of the district court judges here for 19D, which is Moore and Hope counties. It is my honor and my pleasure to stand before you to administer the oath of office to the office holders or potential office holders at this time. So without further ado, if each of you, you're welcome to stand and face the audience so that they can familiarize themselves with who's going to be representing their best interest. If each of you, for those of you that have a Bible, if you would place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. For those of you who wish to be affirmed, if you just raise your right hand, and I'll administer the following. I will ask the oath, and at the very end, I will ask, if so, say I do, and at that time you may affirm. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm to discharge to the best of your ability the responsibilities of office in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in accordance with its Constitution and bylaws and the decisions of its governing bodies, to dedicate yourselves anew to its principles of equality and justice under law, to try always to keep the goals of the NAACP above any purely personal or individual interests that might hinder the attainment of those goals, and to continue help of Almighty God in keeping this pledge? If so, say I do. I do. Congratulations.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Judge Regina Joe. Next up, we do have some singing from Mr. Quabe Gilson, sorry. From Pinecrest, he's in high school, he graduated in 2017. Please come right up, Mr. Quabe Gilson.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. So I go to movies, then I go downtown. Someone keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. So I go on to my brother, and I said, brother, help me, please. But then he winds up knocking me back down, knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times when I thought I wouldn't last so long, but now I know that I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I'm here to say a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will.
Thank you so much. Let me give another hand of I just had to come back to the podium because there was one chair that I forgot. I'm looking right at the name now. And we have always had education is our #1 top challenge mission that we have here in Moore County and also across the state of North Carolina. And that chairperson is going to be led none other than education of justice. Y'all hear me? I said education of justice. And we're going to, our chair of that committee is going to be Reverend Angela Davis. So Reverend Davis, if you would please stand, if you are here, just come up and just say, I will.
Oh, you're very own. Are you ready? And first of all, thank you so much for your service. If you would face the folks that you will be serving, raise your right hand and take the following affirmation. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to discharge to the best of your ability the responsibilities of office in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in accordance with its Constitution and bylaws and the decisions of its governing bodies, and to dedicate yourself anew to its principles of equality and justice under law, to try to always keep the goals of the NAACP above any purely personal or individual interests that might hinder the attainment of those goals, and to continue to ask for the help of Almighty God in keeping this pledge? If so, say, I do. I do. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wherever Ms. Lanisha Womack is.
Good afternoon. My name is Lanisha Womack Bailey, and I am an NAACP Next Gen leader. I am so excited to be here today and to have the opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Judge Regina Joe. Judge Regina Joe was appointed as the Chief Public Defender for Hope in Scotland County, making history as the first African-American female Chief Public Defender in the state. She made history again as the first African-American and first female judge to hold the position as District Court Judge of Judicial District 16A in Hope in Scotland County in November 2006 election. With her recent win at the poll, Judge Regina Joe retained her seat as the District Court Judge for District 19B. Judge Joe has specialized in juvenile certification and has served on the Board of Governors for the North Carolina Association of District Court Judges from 2009 to 2013. She served as president of the North Carolina Association of District Court Judges in 2013 by election by her fellow District Court Judges across the state, currently serving on the District Court Judges Education Committee. We are grateful for her presence among us today, and without further ado, please join me in welcoming Judge Regina Joe.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Regina Joe, and I'm one of your newly elected District Court Judges for 19D, which is now Moore and Hope counties. There's information in the program about me, so I'm not going to go into all of that. And I'm not going to keep you long. I will tell you, I'm not a speaker. I am not a speaker. I am more comfortable in the courtroom, a packed courtroom, than I am now. My mom always said that I had the gift of gab, so maybe this was the way that it was intended for me to get across what it is I needed to say. But I promise you, I won't be very long at all. As I was getting ready this morning and thinking about the reason for the occasion, I was looking at Good Morning America, and they had, of course, a snippet on there honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the various activities and celebrations that were going on across the country in honor of this great man. One of the things that impressed me was they had young folks that were in competition and that were addressing the masses in reference to democracy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what that meant, and we're talking about 10, 11, and 12-year-olds that were addressing groups of people. And a couple of things that they said, resonated with me, and I said, that's the reason for why we're here today and what this is about. One of the young folks was talking about how we adults, if we don't get it right, if those of us that are in party politics and we're bickering and carrying on now the way that we are, if they can't get it right,
this 10-year-old, out of the mouths of babes, said, "It's up to us." Another one came up, she must have been about 11 or 12, and said, "We need to get out of Facebook and put our face in a book." How awesome is that? But we've got these young minds that are looking ahead and seeing the boulders, the stumbling blocks that are in our way, and maybe we're too close to the forest, can't see the forest for the trees, to see what's going on. The message that I'd like to leave with you today is for us adults, because it's our responsibility to point our seats in the right direction. But the message also is for our youth and for our young people, because as someone said earlier, you all are our tomorrow. Collectively, we all have to do this. This labor of justice and equality is perpetual. And what that means is we have to fight at it over and over and over again. We will die, but the dream will not. But before we can do anything collectively, we have to build strength individually. And that's where my message comes from. I've spoken in several different forums, but I would have to say that one of the most important that I've spoken was when I was in my office as an assistant public defender. As a district court judge now, I have judicial standards looking over, and there are things that, a lot of things that we cannot do and cannot say. My communication and interaction with the public is a lot more limited now than when I was a prosecutor or when I was a public defender. As an assistant public defender and eventually chief public defender, I got so much pleasure in meeting so many different people, and I met them under the worst of circumstances, because basically the only time I really got to interact with somebody is when they were charged with something, or they were in trouble, or there was a crisis, a legal crisis in their lives. I got to sit down and explain to them the judicial system. I was the first exposure. And it gave me such joy to do that, not because it was a good thing that they were there, but because I could be somebody's eyes and ears. And I'm telling you, I know those of us who are a little more seasoned know this, but for the young folks, knowledge is power. Yes. You unlock the power of the pen, and you can do a lot. You can speak so many different languages. A lot of times when we have difficulties and burdens, we want to resort to fighting, we want to resort to ugliness, we want to take it to the street. But I'm here to tell you, there is a universal language, and once you unlock the power of the pen, you can fight on any ground you want. It's one thing for us as individuals, as a community, as a state, as a nation, to go through a phase of negative or even destructive behavior. And I think that's where we are now. That's one thing. It's another when we perpetuate that behavior, or we get stuck in this perpetual cycle, and we can't break those chains until the chain breaks us. And before we get to that point, you want to try to pull up and try to turn this thing around. For those of us who know about strife and hardships and tribulations, no matter who you are, you're going to go through them. Because if it were easy, everybody would be in line for it. You're going to go through it. But the difference between those of us who make it on the other side and those of us who don't, you've got winners and you've got losers. We all are going to fail at something at some point in our lives, and we must, because that's how we grow. If you win the game every time, you need somebody to come and spank you so that you will know next time what you did wrong and you can be better at it. Those of us who go through that, you get up. You're going to have bumps and bruises. There'll be boulders in the road,
And sometimes what appears to be insurmountable odds, you think you can't make it on the other side. But when you do, you're a better person for it when you come out of it. If God didn't allow these obstacles to be in our way, I promise you we would not grow. And Lord knows I've had some obstacles in our way. All of us have our story. Everybody's got their story. I liken it to a patchwork quilt. For those of you who don't know, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and all would have all these different color pieces of cloth that they would intricately sew together and make this beautiful patchwork quilt. Every one of us in our lives is like a patchwork quilt. And each of those different color pieces of cloth represents something. It's some kind of hardship in your life that you may be able to relate to that somebody else can't. It may be peer pressure. It may be drugs. It may be pregnancy. It may be your job. It may be your spouse. It may be truancy. Ever what it is, we all have our challenges. The question is not whether or not we fall down, because everybody's going to fall down. But you know what you got to do. You got to get up. And that's what makes the difference. And I think that the fact that each of us is here trying to learn something on this special Memorial Day is a testament that we have what it takes to make it through. I want to share a little bit with you about my son, Isaiah. He is my only child. And I'm going to share with you, all of us have a hand that we are dealt. And this is the hand that he was dealt. His mom came from a 2-parent household with 4 siblings. My mom and dad had 5 girls. All girls. So, 5 girls and a wife. I'm not sure how much bathroom time my dad got. But sometimes we didn't have what we wanted, but we always had what we needed. My mom got to the 11th grade and never went back to school. And I'm here to tell you, my mom and my dad are my heroes and my sheroes. My dad did not get beyond the 5th grade. If I get a little emotional part of me, he's with Jesus and been with him for years. He's fine. But he was my hero. He didn't get past the 5th grade. And I remember when my daddy came up to see me at Campbell University School of Law. He put his baby through law school, and he would come up there to see me, and it was my honor. It was the honor of my classmates for me to introduce my dad, who didn't get beyond the 5th grade, to them. Got missed out. I feel like everyone should feel like they have the best mom and the best dad in the world. My mom and dad did for us what they couldn't do for themselves. All 5 girls had the very same opportunity with limited funds and limited means. How many of you ever heard of Lance? Crackers? Potato chips? Look, lots of hands need to go up. My mama raised us on Lance. She worked at Lance for years and years. 3rd shift at that. I said, you're a good one, because I knew that. My dad, at Christmas time, they would get 1 pair of shoes. Young folks, I want you to listen for a moment. At Christmas time, they would get, and my daddy lived in the country. Anybody ever heard of Waxhaw? Waxhaw, Lord. I've always lived in Charlotte, but Daddy told me all about Waxhaw. They would get 1 pair of shoes for Christmas, and it had to last them the entire year. It wasn't any of this Air Jordans, or they didn't have cell phones and AirPods and Beats. There was none of that. He had 1 pair of shoes, and that had to do him for the entire year. My dad had a janitorial service. He worked 2 jobs. He worked at a nuclear turbine plant in Charlotte called Westinghouse. And then on the side, he had a cleaning business. And do you know where his cleaning crew worked? Exactly. 5 girls. That's right. We did not get to stay after school and participate in extracurricular activities because we knew once school was out, or even on the weekends, it was not unusual for us to be heading out at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not talking about getting up at 5. You had to get up before 5 because we were heading heading out at 5 o'clock, and you better be in that Jeep with the trailer behind it with all the cleaning supplies, and Daddy's gonna jack you up. My father taught us everything as far as character and honesty and all of that. We were his cleaning crew. We would go. We would leave out at 5 o'clock in the morning on the weekends and be back by 12 or 1 o'clock so that we could have the rest of the afternoon and the weekend to ourselves. I can mop, I can strip floors, I can clean a toilet, sparkling clean, dust, vacuum with the best of them. Because that's how my dad raised us. Good, hard, honest work, and then put his baby through law school. Cotton, and did sweet potatoes, and probably much else I don't know. I've never done any of those things. He did them just as any good parent would want better for their child, so that we could go to the school that we wanted. And I would wear my little Tar Heel shirt, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. That was where I went to undergraduate. Because my dad and my mom worked so hard so that we could have the things that they didn't have. We would get up early and get ready to go clean buildings. Daddy would have to deal with attitude, lips poked out, sleepy in the morning, grumbling, and talking underneath the breath, and something I call teen tube. Little did I know, with all of this stuff, there was a lesson that was being taught to me. God gave us two ends, one to sit on and one to think with. I guarantee you that your successes and failures in life are directly related to whichever one you use the most. So, I'm grumbling and carrying on, and over the years, it wasn't until I became a full-grown woman, and years down the road, and become established in what I do, that I realized this was all in God's divine plan. And all of this that was happening was a lesson that I had to go through in order to learn what I was taught. Little did I know that God was helping me practice one end over the other, over and over again. And little did I know that it would eventually leave me standing before you and doing what I'm doing today. Isaiah's father is a retired trooper with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, big burly trooper that most folks in Hope and Scotland counties have become acquainted with or have heard of. And I don't mean that by way of ticket or anything, but it's just that we're small counties and everybody knows, oh, that's Trooper Joe, that's your husband. And then they start talking to me and everything like I can help them with a ticket or something. I always addressed my husband as Joe, and it was a military thing. He was in the armed services. So, I mean, my name's Regina Joe. His name is Stevie Joe. We be in the house and I say, Joe, yo. So, when I say Joe, I'm referring to Isaiah's dad. Joe's mother was very young and was unable to care for him. Therefore, his grandparents raised him. We know something about that. Growing up in the big city of Wilmington, sometimes they didn't even have heat in their home. It was not unusual during the winter months that Mama Marie, his grandmother, would run a big tub of water in the tub, and they would use that for cooking and for cleaning and for bathing or whatever else they needed before those pipes froze up that night. Joe was made fun of, picked on, and got into fights a lot as a child. Of course, he didn't have that problem as an adult. But as a young child, he had a dream, and it was to become a highway patrolman. So out of all this history comes Isaiah, our 15-year-old son. He's beginning to put the pieces of the cloths together for his patchwork quilt. He's building his story, sewing everything together. And that plays a pivotal part in where you're going to be in our tomorrow. It is our responsibility as adults to lead and guide our young folks. It is your responsibility, as someone said, to pick up that torch and keep moving in a direction forward and not backward. What I would do from day one, when I first took office, I've been a judge, I'm going into my 13th year. Isaiah was 2 when I was first elected. On any given day, I'd get up, I'd go on up to the courthouse and I would do my thing. Once the summer months came, or the spring, and the days were longer, it was not unusual to see Judge Joe around 5:30 or 6 o'clock outside, Isaiah pulling him in a wagon, or having some sidewalk chalk, or something there at the house. Everybody go by, somebody go out, throw my hand up, and we start drawing chalk again. This is me making a deposit and an investment in my city for tomorrow, your city for tomorrow. And that's what we have to do on a continuous basis. He was 2 years old then. He's 15 now, and I'm still sowing that seed. Part of sowing that seed, these days it's a different culture, it's a different generation. Everything, it blew my mind when I first picked him up. He's in his first year of high school. And he comes out, and as he's walking to the car, I'm looking around, and everybody is earbuded up. Everybody's walking around with their electronic equipment.
That's right.
Like this. Everybody's engaged. One of the first things I did was made a rule. We may not always eat together, but when you're at the kitchen table, no electronics.
Exactly.
And one other thing, the day that I don't get the password to the phone, you fill in the blank. So we have to, I respect his space, I respect your space, but I am hopeful that you respect the premise that I have a responsibility to keep you safe.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Let's see. I got off course.
That mother kicked in.
You have to stay focused. Wow, what a good job, baby. You have to stay focused. I have a niece, 18 years my junior. 18 years my junior. I said that right. She is now over in Abu Dhabi, teaching 7th grade math, loving it. She's going into her 3rd year, just doing everything. She hopped from country to country like we hop from city to city. She sold all of her worldly possessions, parked her dog with me, which I was very happy about, left her car with her mine, and went on, and she's doing her. And that's fine, you do you. But let me tell you young folks, this is what I told her. Go to school, get your piece of paper, get your 9 to 5, and then let him trip over your feet. You've got to make an investment within yourself. Look and see where we are and what we're doing, and you've got to continue on what we've started. Let it not be for naught. Talking about good character, I'm going to say this and then I'm about to take my seat. People will forget what you said. They may forget what you said. They may forget what you did. Nobody will ever forget how you made them feel. It's all about respect and you're building your character. You've only got one time to make a good first impression.
Exactly.
The sign of a strong and solid character is putting others before yourself. And in doing so, you're going to come out ahead anyway. Know this, there's a big difference between character and reputation. Your reputation is what people think you are. Your character is what you are.
Exactly.
Don't ask for an easier life. Ask to be a stronger person, because strength is one of the things that builds character. It won't always be easy. Many, many times it will be the opposite. Some days you will tame the tiger, and some days the tiger's going to have you for lunch. You got to remember that sometimes God calms the storm, and sometimes he lets the storm rage, and he calms his child. He didn't promise us a calm passage. He promised us a safe landing. So we have to remember that, and we have to go through the deep end of the water in order to grow. That means we have to roll up our sleeves, dig down deep to make things happen. You got to have drive and determination and resolve to keep moving forward. But you must have a plan, and you must have a goal. And problems ain't nothing but opportunity in workflows. So remember that. The tragedy in life is not failing to reach your goal. The tragedy is not having a goal from the get-go. The tragedy is not having a goal to even begin with. Aim at nothing, and you'll succeed every time. I was born and raised in Charlotte. I got my education. I got my job. I would get up in the mornings. I would put on my little suit. I would get in my little car. I would drive on up to my little office and take the elevator and punch the button to the 3rd floor and go on up to the courtroom and do my thing. I got my little slice of pie. I did that. I did what I wanted to do in life. But remember this, as you find many changes developing in your life, take a switch and walk away with this. It's not where you're from. It's where you're going. It's not what's on you. It's what's in you. It's not what you drive. It's what drives you. It's not what you think. It's what you do. Because actions speak louder than words. All right, I'm about to take my seat. But I'm going to leave you with this. I am a district court judge, so I had to put a little something in there in reference to what I do. So, this last thing I'm going to tell you about is a little story, and the moral of that story is, you can't fool Jesus. We're going to start off with the burglar. The burglar broke into the house. It was dark, 2 o'clock in the morning, very, very quiet. He breaks in, he's going to get him a score. He's looking for electronic equipment, stuff he can take fast. iPads, iPhones, electronic stuff. He gets a couple of things and he puts them over to the door. He has his flashlight on because he's not familiar with his surroundings. Well, as he's scoping everything and he's got his little stash stuff up in the corner, he hears somebody say, Jesus gonna get you. He stopped. He turned his flashlight off. He froze. He just stood there for seconds. After he didn't hear anything, he started smelling himself again and got himself going again and starts going over and then starts unplugging this equipment. He's going to haul this over to the door. He's halfway across the room. He hears again, Jesus gonna get you. He stops again. He shakes his head because now he knows he's not just hearing things. He turns the light off. As he turns it off, the room is completely dark. And then slowly his eyes begin to adjust and he starts seeing things, silhouettes. He looks way over in the corner and he sees something tall from whence he thought the sound had come. He turns his flashlight back on, and lo and behold, there's a bird cage. And there's a beautiful little parrot in it. So he's looking, and he says, Parrot, could you say that? Parrot said, yeah. Jesus gonna get you. He said, Parrot, what is your name? Parrot said, my name is Moses. And Jesus gonna get you. He said, what kind of a fool family names a parrot Moses? Bird said, right. Same fool family that named a pit bull Jesus.
Because we want you all to have a photo of our Judge Regina Joe. So we're just going to take a moment. All the young people come up here and line up. Judge Joe, we're going to ask you to come down. And the photographer should feel us direction. So I'm just asking to just take this moment up because this is a rare moment that we have this picture of our Judge Regina Joe.
Y'all stand behind each other.
Stand behind each other.
Y'all watch the photographer right there. Y'all watch the photographer with the Poor People Campaign sweatshirt on. Watch it right there. This is going to be awesome. All right, y'all must be taking the photographer. Let the photographer. You see the guy in the Poor People Campaign sweatshirt with the yellow and white shirt? Now I'm gonna say this. Y'all look at this photographer. Miss Ireland McBride. She's a student at Highland High School.
The name of this march today is Why We March. Now, although it is just a title, the question is still raised. Why do we march? Do we march to raise awareness of something we believe in, or are we doing it just to get out the house? Are we marching in remembrance of Martin Luther King, or are we marching to take pictures and get recognized on social media by people you probably will never hold a conversation with in the long run? I cannot answer this question for you, but I can give you something to reference to this question. Why did Martin Luther King march? Now, we should all know the answer to that, but in case there's someone out there that doesn't, I'll tell you. Martin Luther King marched for not only equal rights, but equality of life for all races. He marched to raise awareness of situations so that me and you can do this today. He marched so that we would be able to eat, sit, walk, look wherever we wanted without the backlash. Martin Luther King was an amazing activist. Not only did he encourage people to stand up for what they believed in, but he gave us a new, peaceful way of demanding the rights that we deserve. This is one of the many speeches that he gave that not only encouraged me, but so many other people to speak up. We can and will be heard. The Montgomery Bus Voice by Martin Luther King. My friends, we are here this evening for serious business. We are here in a general sense because first and foremost, we are American citizens, and we are determined to apply our citizenship to the fullness of its meaning. We are here also because of our love for democracy, because of our deep-seated belief that democracy transforms from thin paper to thick action. It is the greatest form of government on earth. But we are here in a specific sense because of the bus situation in Montgomery. We are here because we are determined to get the situation corrected. The situation is not at all new. The problem has been existing over endless years. For many years now, Negroes in Montgomery and so many other areas have been inflicted by the paralysis of crippling fears on buses in our community. On so many occasions, Negroes have been intimidated and humiliated and oppressed because of the sheer fact that they were Negroes. I don't have time this evening to go into the history of these numerous cases. Many of them now are lost in the thick fog of oblivion. But at least one stands before us now with glaring dimensions. Just last week, last Thursday to be exact, one of the finest citizens in Montgomery, not one of the finest Negro citizens, but one of the finest citizens in Montgomery, was taken from a bus, carried to jail and arrested because she refused to get up to give her seat to a white person. Now, the press will have us believe that she refused to leave a reserved section for Negroes. But I want you to know this evening that there is no reserved known throughout Montgomery and this nation that we are Christian people. The only weapon we have here this evening is the weapon of protesting, certainly. Certainly. This is the glory of America in all of its faults. This is the glory of our democracy. If we were trapped behind the iron curtains of a communist nation, we couldn't do this. But the great glory of an American democracy is the right to protest for rights. Friends, there will be no crosses burned at any bus stops in Montgomery. There will be no white persons taken from their homes, carried to a road, and lynched for not cooperating. I want it to be known that we're going to work with bold determination to get justice on buses in our community. And we're not wrong for what we do. If we're wrong, then the Supreme Court of this nation is wrong. If we are wrong, then the Constitution of the United States is wrong. If we are wrong, justice is a lie. If we're determined here in Montgomery to work, to fight, until justice runs like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Before leaving, I want to say this. I want to urge you. You have voted for this boycott and have done so with great enthusiasm. So now, let us go out and stick together and work until this thing ends. Now, does that mean sacrificing? Yes. It means sacrificing at times. But we've got to learn that there are things out there that we need to sacrifice for. And we've got to come to the point where we're determined not to accept the things that we have been accepting in the past. So I urge you to join this protest today. We have the facilities you need to get to your jobs, and cabs at your service. Automobiles will be at your service. And don't be afraid to look in your car. And if you haven't, if you are fortunate enough to have a little bit of money, save it. Use it for a good cause. Now, my automobile will be in it. It has been in it. And I'm not concerned about it as something to do. Thank you.
On why we march.
Doesn't it need to stop letting people bully us, pick at us, touch us, and abuse us because we march. He let people know that we can do things. He let people know that we have a future. And he let people know that we can stop things by marching. I'm standing here today in it used to be African American school, K through 12. I just want to ask a question. Do you think that was fair? No, it wasn't. But we had things, and we did things. And marching was one of those things. Something tells me that marching was in our blood. If you want something, you will march. If you want something done, you will march. If you want people to hear you, you will march. It might be one of the biggest ways and the most effective way. But marching is not the only way. And all of us that here are leaders. And please show them our marching. Thank you.
All right, next up we got commentary from Ms. Libby Carter, and then we'll wrap it up with the step team, and then we'll do the rapids, and we'll get y'all out of here, okay?
Thank you. What we just saw definitely takes courage. I want to begin by acknowledging the courage of one of my former students, Lakeisha Womack, who has already been working with our young speaker. Lakeisha has demonstrated that she possesses courage, the courage to set goals and work toward them, the courage to decide to make a difference and not stop until she does. She has already made a difference in our Moore County classrooms, and I appreciate this and thank her for showing these young students how to have courage. I must also compliment our student Semia for having the courage to get up and speak before such a large crowd. Not only did she take a chance appearing before you, but she also took the chance that her opinion might not be one that was popular with everyone in the audience. It takes courage to stand against the crowd, and Semia has that kind of courage. It is obvious that she's given a lot of time and thought to what she said today. So as a listener who can never stop quite being a teacher, I want to give her a few suggestions. First of all, on behalf of the older members of any audience, those of us who are slow of hearing, please stop, take a breath, slow down, speak louder so we can better understand you. Your words are important to us. Give us a chance to appreciate everyone and to understand fully the points you are trying to make. Second, everything you shared with us today is of value. Every opinion is worthy. Keep speaking to continue to spread your words and have that courage to make a difference. I especially like what she had to say about marching is in our blood. We were born to march. We were born to make a difference. Keep it up. She also knows that those who march are those who become the leaders because they point the pathway that we must take. Her topic was why we march, and she's provided us with great reasons we should. So should we keep marching? The answer to this is a definite yes, especially based on what Semia has to say. I say we should all march. March right to the school where your children or grandchildren attend and give an hour listening to someone read. March to the coalition and spend an hour sorting donations so that someone may shop. March to the home of an older neighbor and offer to help in the yard. Or just march home and spend some time with your own children or grandchildren, listening to them, playing with them, and just showing them some love. Marching is important, but those marches need to start here at home. Let us march together to make a difference in our communities, to our families, our friends, our neighbors, to those we have not met yet. Let us continue marching and together make a difference. And one last word to Semia. Ireland McBride is already on the speech and debate team at Pinecrest, and when you arrive at the school, we surely do hope you'll join. Thank you so much.
Gotcha.
See a little snippet of our future, of some of our torch carriers.
Got a fantastic teacher right there.
Thank you guys.
Right? Everything.
They said it.
I told him. Didn't I tell him?
Lisa Womack, who is the secretary of Moore County NAACP, and it was also
gave me some tickets. I don't know if it was her ticket or my ticket. But she gave me some tickets. Put it in my area.
You want to shoot a video? No.
I ain't no
basically the main thing that I really focus on. So as y'all mostly know that I'm a math teacher and I really focus on academics. And this summer we're looking into a several city program that will hopefully help our students with technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I wanted to call really quickly Jeffrey up to the stage real quick. So he can talk to us real quick about some summer opportunities for our kids academically.
Thank you, Keisha. If I could have everyone's attention for just a moment. The economy is now global. The competition for jobs is now global. You see, the first industrial revolution was powered by water, and it was powered by steam. The second industrial revolution brought in electricity. It brought in the ability to organize an assembly line for mass production. The third industrial revolution brought in computers and automation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now living in the fourth industrial revolution. This revolution utilizes cyber systems, analytics, and data. Data that will provide medication for those who are sick around the world, that will feed the hungry, and provide homes for the homeless. But this is not any ordinary revolution. It is, in fact, an evolution. The evolution of the digital citizen. Because make no mistake about it, everyone within the sound of my voice is a digital citizen. We're doing things now that we wouldn't have done 20 years ago.
Lord have mercy.
We would not dial up a complete stranger and get into that stranger's personal car and have that stranger and rely on that stranger to take us safely to our destination. We do that now through Uber. And just 20 years ago, we would not have imagined of taking a vacation and staying in the home of a stranger. We do that now through Airbnb. And just these two companies have disrupted both the automotive and hospitality industries. So we must now focus on changing and transforming our digital citizens, our digital consumers, you might say, into digital creators. Because it is through transforming our students into digital creators, starting in grades K through 5, we can then focus on ensuring that every third grader passes the end of grade reading test. That will reduce the number of jails that we build every year.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
We then have to focus on making sure that every one of our rising sixth graders is prepared for middle school math, which is 50% across the state of North Carolina. And then there's the Achilles heel of all high schools, algebra.
Love it.
Algebra continues to cripple our high schools because as our students walk through the doors and are not fluent in basic mathematics, they vote with their feet. And what I mean by voting with their feet, I mean they drop out. You know, I think it's very interesting that Dr. King entered college at the age of 15. Well, guess what? That can happen now. We have to ensure that every one of our students that's prepared to enter high school is qualified to enroll in our early college high schools. And if our students are not, if they are not fortunate to enroll into our early college high schools, we can ensure that they are academically prepared to dual enroll and enroll in college before they graduate high school.
Exactly.
Now, it is extremely important that we follow through and we ensure that we are able to empower the next generation of engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs. Because right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is about empowering the most important race on this planet, the human race. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I would like to say that we will get started with our back to school program on the Southern Pines Housing Authority on Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll make that announcement.
Let's give all our participants a great this young man is being imparted a good part of information to us, and we need to take it to heart. Nobody stood for him, but he gave some good information that we need for right now. So we thank him for that. And we get ready to do the benediction. I had the good fortune of meeting Coretta Scott King in the year of about 2004. She was so courteous and so gracious and so beautiful. And so I thought I'd have a little conversation with her, but it was getting late in the evening, and she looked at me and she said, "You young folk can stay up pretty late." She said, "But I got to go to bed." But I told her that I did my research on Dr. Martin Luther King while I was in high school, and I thought I knew everything about him that could be known. And she showed me a little pamphlet or a folder that she had. She said we didn't give all our speeches away. We still got a lot so that when she go around to make her speeches, she could glean on his. But she did leave me with this good tidbit of information. She looked at me, she said, "Martin said that everybody ought to be a light, a headlight, and not a tail light." Father, we thank you and we praise you for the sound. We thank you for these that have gathered here under the sound of my weak voice. Now, God, as we leave here, we leave empowered. Help us to be an impact to our nation. Your Lord, we thank you and we give you the praise. Now may the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the communion of the Holy Ghost, rest, rule, and abide with us, henceforth, now and forever. Let us all say amen.
Amen. Amen.
Special acknowledgments for the program today. The Southern Pines Primary School staff, Erie Andrews, a.k.a. Sorority, Starbucks, West Southern Pines Civic Club Incorporated, Libby Carter, and the parents of our youth. Thank you, Moore County NAACP, for a wonderful program. 2019, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. Thank you so much for tuning in to Town Talk. I'm Rose Highland-Sharpe, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And honey, remember, some way by God's grace and mercy, if you're walking the walk, you'll be on Town Talk. Take care. God bless. Town Talk airs daily at 11 a.m. on WYBE TV, Spectrum Cable 3, Southern Pines, North Carolina, and on Rose Highland-Sharpe YouTube. It is a service to the community.